Could the Titanic, the unsinkable ship, completely disappear by the year 2030? It's a question that stirs the imagination, isn't it? This grand symbol of human ambition and tragic failure resting silently in the icy depths for over a century. What if it were to vanish, swallowed up by the relentless passage of time? Would it leave a void in our collective memory, or would its legacy endure? To answer this, we first need to understand the current state of the Titanic. The Titanic, the largest ship afloat at the time, sank in the early morning of the 15th of April, 1912. A marvel of engineering, it was making its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, carrying over 2,000 passengers and crew. The Titanic was touted as unsinkable, yet a mere 4 days into her journey, she struck an iceberg. Despite the efforts of the crew, the ship began to take on water, and within a few hours, the Titanic was lost to the icy depths of the Atlantic. The sinking of the Titanic was a tragedy of immense proportions, claiming the lives of more than 1,500 people. The enormity of this disaster sent shockwaves around the world and led to significant changes in maritime safety regulations. Since then, the Titanic has been lying at the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean. The remains of the Titanic were discovered in 1985, almost 73 years after it sank. The ship, once a symbol of human ingenuity and luxury, lay at the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean, forgotten by many and considered lost forever. But in 1985, a French-American expedition led by oceanographer Robert Ballard changed that narrative. The expedition was not an easy one. The Titanic had sunk to a depth of over 12,000 feet, a region of the ocean so dark and cold that it seemed impossible for any life to survive. Yet Ballard and his team were determined. Using a remotely operated vehicle named Argo, they scoured the ocean floor for weeks, navigating treacherous underwater terrain and battling against the clock. Finally, after weeks of relentless searching, their perseverance paid off. On September 1st, 9/80s of the ship's boiler were transmitted to the surface. The Titanic had been found. It was a moment of triumph, a testament to human determination and technological advancement. The state of the wreck at the time of discovery was a sight to behold. The Titanic lay broken in two, its bow and sterns separated by a vast debris field. Yet within the wreckage, glimpses of the ship's former grandeur could still be seen. The grand staircase, once a symbol of the ship's opulence, lay preserved in the icy depths. China plates, still stacked neatly as they were the night the ship sank, lay scattered on the ocean floor, a haunting reminder of the lives lost. Yet amidst the triumph of the discovery, there was a sense of foreboding. The Titanic, once thought of as unsinkable, now lay in pieces on the ocean floor. And even as the world celebrated its discovery, the ship was already beginning to show signs of deterioration. Corrosion caused by the harsh oceanic conditions was eating away at the ship's steel structure. The Titanic was slowly but surely succumbing to the sea. Little did we know the Titanic was already beginning to deteriorate. The Titanic has been slowly deteriorating since the day it sank. An iconic ship, once a marvel of human engineering, has been succumbing to the relentless forces of time and nature over the past century. Let's journey through the timeline of the Titanic's decay. In the initial years after its sinking, the Titanic was left untouched, resting in the cold, dark depths of the North Atlantic. The ship, though damaged from its descent, remained largely intact. However, the Titanic hasn't been immune to the harsh environment of the deep sea. The first signs of deterioration were noted when the ship was discovered in 1985. Even then, the Titanic was covered in rusticles, icicle-like structures formed by iron-eating bacteria. These rusticles have continued to grow over the years, slowly consuming the iron of the ship's hull. The bacteria responsible for this, a species called Halomonas titanicae, has been silently feasting on the Titanic for decades. Deep sea currents have also been a significant factor in the Titanic's decay. These currents, swift and powerful, have been eroding the ship's structure, wearing away at the metal and causing parts of the ship to collapse. The currents have been particularly harsh on the ship's upper decks, which have been exposed to their relentless force for over a century. Another factor contributing to the Titanic's decay is the sheer pressure of the deep sea. The Titanic rests more than 2 miles beneath the surface, where the pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. This intense pressure has been slowly crushing the ship's structure, causing it to buckle and warp over time. The ship's deterioration has been accelerated by human activity too. Since its discovery, numerous expeditions have visited the Titanic, some retrieving artifacts, others merely observing. These visits have inadvertently caused damage to the site, hastening the ship's decay. It's important to note that deterioration isn't just physical, the Titanic's story. Its history is also fading with time. As the ship decays, so too does our tangible link to the past. Each rusticle, each collapsed deck, each artifact lost to the sea is a piece of history slipping away. Sadly, the rate of decay is increasing. The latest expeditions have reported alarming levels of deterioration. The captain's quarters, once a symbol of authority and prestige, have collapsed. The iconic bow, featured in countless photographs and films, is disintegrating. The ship that was once thought unsinkable is now slowly but surely sinking into oblivion. So what does the future hold for the Titanic? Will it be gone by 2030 as some predict? Only time will tell. What we do know is that the Titanic is in a constant state of change, its form shaped by the relentless forces of nature and time. Today, the Titanic is in a far more delicate state than when it was first discovered. As we continue to observe and study this iconic ship, we're reminded of the profound impact of time, the power of nature, and the fleeting nature of human achievement. So will the Titanic be gone by 2030? This is a question that has sparked considerable debate among experts. There's a consensus that the Titanic is deteriorating. That much is clear. But the speed at which this is happening is where opinions start to diverge. Some experts believe that the Titanic could disappear within the next 10 years, while others argue that it could last for several decades more. The future of the Titanic largely depends on two things: the natural environment and human activity. Let's delve into these factors a bit. First, the natural environment. The Titanic lies 2.5 miles beneath the surface of the North Atlantic Ocean, in a realm so cold and dark it's often called the dead zone. This environment is incredibly hostile to most forms of life, but it's ideal for the rusticle's strange, icicle-like formations of rust that are slowly eating away at the Titanic's iron. These rusticles are formed by a type of bacteria that thrives in the cold, oxygen-poor waters of the deep sea. As they consume the iron, they're slowly turning the Titanic into a delicate, rust-colored skeleton. Then there's human activity. Over the years, numerous expeditions have visited the Titanic, some even retrieving artifacts from the wreck. While these expeditions have provided invaluable insights into the ship's history, they've also disturbed the wreck and may have accelerated its decay. So what does this mean for the future of the Titanic? Well, if the rusticles continue at their current pace, and if human disturbance continues, the Titanic could indeed be gone by 2030. But if these factors change, if the rusticles slow down, or if human visits become less frequent, the Titanic could survive well beyond that date. In the end, the Titanic's future is uncertain. But one thing is for sure: even if the ship itself disappears, its legacy will live on. The Titanic has become a symbol of human ambition and folly, a cautionary tale that continues to resonate more than a century after its maiden voyage. So will the Titanic be gone by 2030? Maybe, maybe not. But regardless of when or how it happens, the disappearance of the Titanic will mark the end of an era. It will be a poignant moment, a final farewell to a ship that has captivated the world for over a century. The Titanic may not last forever, but its story will continue to captivate us. The Titanic's journey has been a tale of grandeur, tragedy, and decay. From her ill-fated maiden voyage that ended in a chilling tragedy to her rediscovery from the depths of the Atlantic, the Titanic's story has captivated us for over a century. We've delved into the details of her sinking, marveled at the technological feats that led to her unearthing, and lamented the inevitable decay that time and nature have wrought upon her once majestic form. Our exploration didn't stop at the surface. We've delved deep, studying the factors contributing to her deterioration, from salt corrosion to metal-eating bacteria. The forecast for her future is grim, with predictions suggesting that she may be gone by the year 2030. But let's not forget, it's more than just a ship. It's a symbol, a testament to human ambition and the relentless power of nature. While we can't stop the inevitable decay of the Titanic, we can ensure that its legacy lives on in our memories.